Did you start?
Yep.
Colby Taylor with Covenant Defense. I'm here with my friend John Paul. We are at a long-range shooting class at Blue Steel Ranch, and we wanted to take some time to talk about using gas guns and holdover reticles to engage long-distance targets. So, John?
You know, there's a lot of people out there yet that think that it's just not possible to do precision long-range shooting with a gas gun, and all I got to say is they haven't shot one of ours. I think the accuracy really is comparable, and what you pick up on there is, of course, the ability to re-engage quickly. Now, this is one of my personal rifles here I brought out for demo purposes and to do a little shooting and let people play with a little bit today. This is actually a PSC-11. It's a dual charging system here. I've got both sides top. I'm kind of a fond of the side charging because it just ergonomically works for me. I can charge and clear the rifle without relinquishing my cheek weld, and also makes for a nice suppressor rifle if you shoot subsonic ammo that doesn't cycle, and you can use it as a straight pull manual action. But really the thing that comes together here is the package of rifle and optic. I've got a USO 3.7 or 3.2 to 17. They call it their LR17. I shoot an H25 reticle in it. It's a Horus Vision reticle. You can look at those. There's all sorts of Horus Vision reticles. The favorite one I have is the H25 because I think it minimalizes the data but gives me everything that I really want to see. Now, commonly, a lot of people look at one of those reticles and they think, oh my God, there's just too much stuff in there. How can you possibly see the target? Well, it really, after you work with a holdover system like that, you understand how it works. The reticle ceases to obscure the target and it becomes the grid by which you measure your shooting composition, the composition of your shot. It doesn't bother me at all now. If I need to get out of the grid, I just come, put whatever I'm looking at above it to clear that. But it really gives me an idea of what the projectile is actually doing as it flies through space, both the trajectory and the wind. As I see those values in the reticle, I'm not just dialing them and just making some rash assumption about that. I can actually see in the grid what that projectile is doing as it flies through the air towards the target. Now, the thing is, on a gas gun in particular, if I don't have to get off the gun to cycle it, why would I want to get off the gun? So holdover shooting in combination with a semi-automatic precision platform like this makes perfect sense. And let me tell you that once you try something like this, you're going to realize you could probably memorize 5 or 6 holds. I can do that. I'll write them on my hand or write them on my data card on my arm in case I forget. But a lot of times, once I have my targets ranged and I have my data on them, I can usually commit to memory 5 or 6 holds pretty quickly. And I can literally go from one target to the next, pick up those holds, and I'm going to hit those targets. You can hold to the nearest tenth. I can't dial any finer than that. The knobs are, of course, 1/10 mil. The reticle is graduated to the 0.2 mil, and like I said, you can easily extrapolate that to the 0.1 mil, so I can create any hold that I can dial just as accurately. Now, is there a downside to this? All right, if you're not accomplished with it, you haven't worked with it, it's pretty easy to say to pick up the wrong space or the wrong point in the reticle. But the more you work with it, the more you realize that this is actually less error prone. It certainly is for me. It's less error prone than dialing. I never have to forget about coming back. My turrets never wear out. I never have to worry about the accuracy of the turret assembly relative to the measurement that I'm working with, because the reticle is in the frontal plane. The data in the reticle in the frontal plane relative to the target is always the same no matter what magnification I am. So if I want to back off, get more field of view on the target, I can still shoot my reticle to absolute precision. So that's why gas guns, reticle shooting systems like Horus Vision, and then you notice I've got this little secondary sight up on top here. I really love using this. This is one of our J points, and all of our scope mounts they're modular so that you can integrate this sight right into the scope mount. Another thing I kind of like about this scope, because it's got this low elevation turret here, this easily clears that. So what I do here is I spot this target with using this no magnification dot sight. This is not a precision sight, but guess what? I can see in a natural terrain. I know approximately where the target is, and let's say I can't see the target with my naked eye, which is very common out here, but I know where the target is in terms of reference point in a natural terrain. I'll pick it up with a dot sight, immediately transition to the big scope with its narrow field of view, and guess what? I'm on the target. So that saves me from going from bino back to scope or cranking my magnification down, as long as I've made the reference points when I'm initially locating enraging the targets with the bino and creating that reference point in my head as to where the targets are in the natural terrain, then this combination of spotter and precision scope really does the job for me. So that's how it works.
Yeah. I was typically taught that if you're shooting long range, it needs to be with a bolt gun and you need to dial. My gun is right here. This is a JP 6.5 Creedmoor. Does not have the Horus reticle system, but it does have a holdover system. After shooting it this weekend, I'm absolutely sold. This is the best way to go. You can make immediate corrections. You don't have to come off the cheek weld. You can see your splash and correct for that immediately. So whether it's a moving target such as a game animal or in a defensive application where you have multiple targets, I absolutely see this as superiority. Not taking anything away from our bolt gun friends that are shooting here today, but I would say the guys shooting gas guns of the same caliber as the bolt guns are shooting totally on par. That's it.